Let's have a look at a component that is based upon TAdvEdit. The tutorial for TAdvEdit is available as a video as well. So let's feature on a plain, simple input dialog that makes use of the features of TAdvEdit. Because I have to be honest, I so far always used the dialog that Microsoft provides as part of the Win API. It's called QueryDialog or input dialog, and you have to add the references to the API in order to use it. But the input component is very simple. There is no comfort. For example, you can't control what sort of user data is acceptable for input and which isn't. And this is exactly where TAdvEdit comes in. So let me just emphasize that the usage of TAdvQueryDialog is that it is simple, quick, and not too complex to configure. As you'll see in the upcoming videos, TMS has much more complex dialog options, but this dialog component is there because it's so darn easy. If you just want to get a number or a name or something like that, this is the component to use because it's just easy. It also relies on the VCL constants. That means all the language that is being used is based on the VCL language that is used. So if you run this with a German VCL, you get German localization. If you run it with the American VCL, you get the English localization. So this is also an advantage, that this is nothing custom built by TMS. It's built on top of the VCL, and it replaces the simple dialogs, input dialogs that Microsoft provides as part of the Windows API. Just looking at the amount of properties, we see that this dialog or this component is easy to use. So let's start by defining a dialog caption. Again, our example will be entering a temperature. So we say caption is temperature. And then we also have the input prompt, enter a temperature. And we make it formal, please enter a temperature value. So that's it. Sadly, because the component is so easy, we don't have any preview. So I already prepared this, a button, and the button will then say advanced, create dialog 1, show modal. And of course, this method returns the T-modal result, meaning you can check for MR OK, MR cancel as both variants to see if the user canceled or confirmed the dialog. So that's not important right now, so I'll keep it at this. This is the very simple application with the button that invokes the query dialog. Here's the caption temperature, please enter a temperature value. And right now this behaves exactly like the dialog that's part of the Windows API, so I can enter anything. But the difference is this is not a standard TEdit control, this is a TAdvEdit control. So what we can do is we have some of the advanced properties available here in our dialog component. So for example, we can specify the edit type and can set it to ET numeric. So we now are only able to enter integer values. And we also have prefix and suffix. So we can say Fahrenheit as the unit. And as you can see, we now have a very comfortable dialog. We can't enter any letters. We can only specify temperatures. Let's have a look how we can actually retrieve the text or the number that has been entered. Again, we look at the implementation of the button click event, and we say if show modal equals MR OK, then begin. And what we want to do is we simply want to display what has been entered. So show message and advanced query dialog. And the dialog has a text property which contains the text that is included in the edit control of the dialog. Sadly, we do not have properties to just extract the integer value or the float value. But as already said, for simplicity, this component gets you started quickly and it shouldn't be a hurdle. So let's look at this again. If we click cancel, nothing happens. But if we enter a temperature value, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, okay, and we get like the show message with the 80. Other properties that are available from the TAdvEdit control are the precision for float values, the sign property, so you can enter negative values as well. I'll check this, run it again. And now we're not only able to enter positive values, we can also enter minus 80 degrees Fahrenheit. If we uncheck signed, we can no longer enter the minus sign. Only positive integers are accepted. Finally, one more advantage using this dialog and not the WinAPI dialog. This dialog is ready for high DPI. And also you're able to change the size, the width of the dialog using dialog unit width. If this component triggered your fancy, please stay tuned, because next I'm going over to the TAdvEdit task dialogs, which are modern dialogs that have been built on top of new APIs that have been introduced in Windows Vista, Windows 8, and Windows 10.